Drugs and substance abuse, especially in Kaduna, has been a source of concern in the society. As a result of this ugly trend, there is increase in crime rates. This prompted government at all levels to adopt stringent measures in tackling the menace, but the problem seems to defy solution. Involvement of youths into drugs is the focus of Panorama today. I am Suleiman Rigachko. You can follow this news broadcast live on our website nta.ng/live and social media platforms displayed on the screen. The Supreme Court has struck out the suit challenging the constitutionality of Section 84, subsection 12 of the Electoral Act 2022. In a unanimous judgment, the seven-man panel of justices led by Justice Muhammad Musa Dattijo averred that having participated in the process of the enactment of the Electoral Act 2022, the plaintiffs cannot invoke any court process against the acts. The judgment, prepared and read by Justice Emmanuel Agim, struck out the matter for lack of jurisdiction. The seven-man panel of justices also pointed out that the suit is an abuse of court process. In the suit, the National Assembly, Rivers State Government, and Rivers State House of Assembly are the defendants. The Nigerian Bar Association is an amicus curiae in the suits. President Muhammadu Buhari has made a passionate appeal to Nigerians to not only be tolerant of one another, but embrace peace and harmonious coexistence. This, he said, is the only way for the country to remain on the path of sustainable future. The president stated this while speaking to newsmen after a guided tour of the Genocide Memorial in Kigali. State House correspondent Adam Sambo has the details.
It was a solemn and indeed epoch-making event as President Muhammadu Buhari performed a symbolic wreath-laying ritual at the Kigali Genocide Memorial. The visit on the margins of the ongoing Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting was to honor the victims of the 1994 Rwandan genocide. Opened in 2004 on the 10th anniversary of the genocide against the Tutsis, the memorial is the final resting place for more than 250,000 out of the 1 million victims of the genocide. President Buhari was told that for survivors, friends, and family of those killed, the memorial is a place they can call home and always come to remember their loved ones. The Nigerian leader undertook a guided tour of 3 permanent exhibitions as well as the Memorial Gardens, a place for quiet contemplation about the history of the genocide. During the visit, President Buhari paid tribute to the memory of the victims and prayed for healing for the survivors. NTA News sought to know from the Nigerian leader what readily comes to his mind after the tour of the Genocide Memorial.
The civil war we fought, 30 months of furious civil war, we killed about 1 million of each other, Nigerians, We went through this terrible development process. What have we done to record our own historical antecedents? I think we should do that. The experience from 15th January 1966 to date, I went all through it. I was a governor, I was a minister, I was a head of state, I was in detention. I have come back into partisan politics and I am finishing my 2 terms as constitutionally allowed.
So what are the lessons to learn?
Being tolerant.
Before departing, the president also wrote in the visitor's book that Nigeria is strongly committed to the prevention of mass atrocity anywhere in the world and believes that perpetrators of such crimes and their enablers be held accountable. He prayed that humanity will never experience this kind of hatred, wickedness, and violence towards others because of their ethnic background, religion, and beliefs. From Kigali, Rwanda, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
And and the United Kingdom have resolved to build and reinforce existing cooperation in the highly beneficial relations between the two countries, especially in the areas of security and trade. This was when President Muhammadu Buhari engaged the British Prime Minister Boris Johnson on the margins of the 26th Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Kigali, Rwanda. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports on this and other engagements of the President.
During the high-level talks, both President Muhammadu Buhari and Prime Minister Boris Johnson harped on what they described as strong attachment and massive partnership between Nigeria and the United Kingdom, which must be deepened and expanded going forward.
An area that was also identified was in the area of clean energy. And, Mr. President talks about the Great Green Wall and the efforts that we are making in Nigeria to fight desertification and also, climate change. And the UK Prime Minister talked about some British energy companies, clean energy companies, that also want to come and invest in Nigeria. So it was really about, economic and technical cooperation.
Discussions also centered on the leader of the proscribed indigenous peoples of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, now facing trial in Nigeria.
It was in respect of, access to his lawyers, especially in private. They were not sure where, but I think maybe that somebody might have reported to them that there was some issue there, which is unknown to the authorities.
President Buhari dispelled such insinuation, saying the detained separatist leader is being given every opportunity under the law to justify all the uncomplimentary things he had been saying against Nigeria in Britain. Nnamdi Kanu, he said, jumped bail before, and there are no assurances that he won't do it again if admitted to bail. The president used the opportunity to once again reiterate his resolve to respect the maximum term limit in the Nigerian constitution. And shortly after, President Muhammadu Buhari granted audience to the Jamaican Prime Minister Andrew Holness, where issues of common interest between Nigeria and Jamaica dominated discussions.
It was the wish of Jamaica to increase the level of economic and trade relations with Nigeria. They thank Mr. President for the support that Nigeria has in the past been providing to Jamaica, especially with regards to oil sales at government-regulated levels.
The Commonwealth Secretary General Patricia Scotland also came calling to solicit the support of President Muhammadu Buhari's Nigeria for the renewal of her mandate for a second two-year term in office.
She gave a sort of a scorecard of what has been delivered under her watch by the Commonwealth for Nigeria, and then also going forward areas of focus, especially, as I said, in the area of artificial intelligence and information and communications technology.
President Buhari expressed satisfaction with the performance of the Commonwealth scribe so far and spoke of the desirability of keeping her on. From Kigali, Rwanda, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Disasters propelled by climate change occur. Women and children are said to be the most impacted. This consciousness is prompting advocacy for women inclusion in climate change, in climate action at the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Kigali, Rwanda. Onengie Fineface reports.
Vulnerable women and girls
on the sidelines of the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, gender advocates meet to highlight the contribution of women in ensuring successful climate change resilience. Conversations promote the opinion that it is necessary to include women as vital change makers and ensure their seat at the policy and decision-making tables for climate action.
Having alternative income sources, being able to access transportation, being able to access information, having leadership positions and being able to make decisions are all attributes of what makes a person more resilient to a climate change shock and stress. So they tend to have less of those, and that's why they get affected more.
There are result frameworks which are very clearly covering gender indicators right now, so that there is no proposal that goes without a gender marker which covers that. And of course, that's the bare minimum that we achieved till now.
With increasing vulnerabilities, cities, homes, and large informal communities are already feeling the harsh effects of climate change and other disaster risks.
It is time to close the gap in gender if we are to strengthen our resilience, preparedness, coping capacity, and recovery effort. Offsetting the trend is indeed possible if we are committed.
This session recommends, therefore, that all sectors of society must be united in protecting the diverse communities of the Commonwealth. Onengie Fine Face, NTA News.
North's Minister of Women Affairs, Dame Pauline Tallinn, announces the victory of the Nigerian candidate to the UN CEDAW Committee, Esther Egobamin Michelia, during the election of new members at the 22nd meeting of state parties to the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, CEDAW, which took place at United Nations headquarters in New York. Minister of Women Affairs says she has no doubt that Esther Egobamin Michelia will do Nigeria proud in the journey ahead. Nigeria today unveils its strategy document for accelerating human capital development. Performing the launch of the document in Abuja, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says the Nigerian government recognizes the role human capital development plays in driving sustainable economic growth, boosting productivity, and reducing poverty. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
The pride of the nation. Young Nigerians described as the most valuable assets. This underscores the call for nations to invest into their education, access to healthcare, and enhance their skill to create or seek employment, as indicated in the Human Capital Development Strategy document that has been launched. All hands must be on deck.
The most important targets and objectives, nationally and regionally, must be on the improvement of the quality of lives, living standards, and livelihoods of our people, the happiness, security, and general welfare of our populations. Clearly, nothing else is as important.
An ECOWAS Human Capital Development Performance Analysis, which covers data up to 2020 in member states, shows a slight increase, mainly driven by an improvement in economic inclusion.
Now we have our strategy documents, but we are in a race against time. We are locked in a mortal battle with difficult local and global macroeconomic and fiscal circumstances. It is the commitment of the national and subnational leaders that will determine whether these strategy documents will gather dust or gather momentum. I think the federal government of Nigeria and the National Economic Council have started very well.
The states are indeed committed to human capital development and will continue to show that kind of commitment. What will help us is let us use our tradition and culture to build capacity development and to do human capital development in our various needs.
Everyone has a role to play, and the nation must walk the talk, says Oba Adeye Ogunwusi, Ojajad II, who spoke on behalf of the nation's traditional rulers. Jide Onifade, NTA News.
More reports ahead on Panorama after the break. Of drugs and substance abuse, especially among youths, is defying all measures of tackling the menace and becoming a nightmare to the society. Kaduna State is among states with prevalence of illicit drugs, which heightens fear among the people and the future of those who are into drugs. Achari Maxwell looks at ongoing efforts to stem the tides of drugs in Kaduna State.
Kaduna State is among states with high consumption of illicit drugs, especially among women and youths. This is evident in the number of seizures of psychoactive substances and arrest of drug barons and dealers within the first quarter of this year. Records available shows that Kaduna Command of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency arrested about 300 suspected drug dealers and others suspected to have committed crimes under the influence of psychoactive substances. Out of this number, 9 are women. In the same period, the command intercepted about 2,000 kilograms of leaves suspected to be cannabis sativa, also known as Indian hemp, and 3,000 kilograms of tramadol. This development is heightening anxiety among residents like Baba Auta Ali.
That's why you see there, you see today, now then they make all this armed robber, kidnapping, now those draw, now then they push them to go and do bad thing.
It affects and disturbs their mental abilities.
This has brought to fore issues of synergy between security agencies in dealing with drugs-related crimes.
Call on everyone that as we approach the elections of 2023, that we must eschew, we must avoid drug abuse by every means. For the users, we say that you must stop drug abuse because drug abuse will only damage you and not let you have a future.
Winning this war needs public support in providing useful information to the agencies for proactive measures. In Kaduna, Achari Maxwell, NTA News.
With us to share his thoughts on this matter in our studio is the Commander, National Drugs Law Enforcement Agency, Kaduna, Umar Isa Adoro. You're most welcome to Panorama today.
Thank you, Alhaji Salisu.
Yeah, Suleiman.
Alhaji Suleiman.
Thank you very much. In view of alarming rate of drugs and of course substance abuse can paint the picture of the situation in Kaduna after the reports released by your command for the first quarter. What is your take on this?
Well, it is actually alarming to like you highlighted. I will say from January to date, now we have arrested over 400 drug dealers. Out of that number, half of it we have counsel are released. Over 200 were charged to Federal High Court.
Okay.
And of that same number, we secured about 35 convictions. Almost 90 is still pending before the court.
All right.
And there's some few cases still under investigation.
Youth involvement in drug peddling, drug abuse is at an alarming rate, and we are approaching elections. What is your take on this regarding the approach of the NDLEA to ensure that the youths are controlled?
Well, we continue to do our best. We intensified measures in area of arrest and seizures, and for future of the proceeds that comes from the drug trade.
All right.
And we are doing very well. We have removed a large chunk of drugs in circulation, which is very important to the oncoming elections and to the youth. I think as of now, we have removed almost 5 tons from January to date out of circulation
in Kaduna
State alone. Okay. And the cannabis, which is is on the high, over 2 tons, and then you have 2.5 tons, and then you have almost 2 tons of the tramadol,
okay,
and then the remaining 1 ton from the various psychoactive drugs in areas of diazepam, retinol, Exol.
Okay, talking about drugs, dealers are usually one of the major culprits in this, and they are behind these problems quite all right.
Yeah.
What are you doing in ensuring arrest and prosecution?
Yeah, we have gone a headway in arrest of the dealers. Like I told you, we have gotten not less than say over 200 that have been charged to court.
Okay.
And we have confiscated millions worth of properties for those that are dealing in drugs, and we have over 6 million cash that we have seized in the office, and We also have closed shops and houses, over 35 shops and houses that have of those that are dealing in drugs.
All right. There is an allegation of compromise because drug dealers are usually being arrested, but few days later they are freed. Why?
This need to be, maybe people have to go a little bit inside. Like I highlighted before, there are those that you do not need to actually take them to charge them to court because they were found to be victims or users. Okay. So they are like patients that needs counseling.
All right. What are you doing on rehabilitation?
We are doing very well in the area of rehabilitation. We have a designated center that we trained, shows those that are found to be users, train them on the dangers, show them the dangers, and then at the end of successful trainings or educations, we try to reintegrate them back to their families and the society.
Thank you very much, Musa Adaro, for coming to share your thoughts with us on Panorama today on measures taken to control drug abuse in Kaduna State.
Thank you.
I wish you more success. Thank you for coming.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Ahead of next political dispensation, there is conscious effort by coalition of civil society organizations and critical stakeholders in Jigawa State to set an agenda and find developmental direction tagged Next Jigawa. Ibrahim Bello was at the unveiling ceremony and now reports.
The Next Jigawa platform is a non-governmental and non-partisan platform established to create awareness and present charter of demands by setting agenda for elected office holders in the state. The unveiling attracted representatives of the 5 emirs, the state assembly, civil society organizations, women and youth groups, political parties, among other interest groups.
I will unveil this good document for the betterment of the citizens of Jigawa State and the humanity in general. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Unveiling of the Citizens' Charter of Demands represents the needs and aspirations of the citizens of Jigawa State, upon which the political office holders, or rather the candidates of all the political parties in the state, are expected to key in to align the needs of the people of Jigawa State with their party manifestos, so that when they were able to be elected, they should take into consideration all these needs of the Jigawa citizens.
With this declaration of State Charter of Demand, speakers called for support of the initiative by all stakeholders for the betterment of the state. In Dutse, Ibrahim Bello, NTA News.
Next is sports updates. That is Panorama today. Thank you for watching. Good afternoon.